have 6 degrees, I've lived overseas, I've gone to seminary, and I even wrote a book. When I tell you this book was never a part of my plan, I gave my life to Christ, and all of that just happened and didn't happen. Hi, I'm Syeeda, and I'm a first generation college student. I originally started out at community college because I had a basketball scholarship. So that was one way to help pay for school. Fortunately, I did get good grades in college or in high school, and so I had an academic and an athletic scholarship while I was there, and was really just like, okay, this is my one step of faith, my one step in the direction of the life that I want to live. And for me, I knew that it would take getting a degree to get to where I wanted to go. And then the rest is just nothing but God opening door after door after door, and me having to trust him more and more to see this plan unfold. So welcome. I'm really excited to take you on this journey with me of how Set an Example came to be, in the ways in which God has led me, walked with me, and has transformed me along the way. I hope you enjoy this journey. I pray it ministers to you. If you have questions or comments, if you have a similar experience, please leave them in the comments below, because I also want to hear your testimonies. These are not just stories or random things that happen to you. We are able to share the good news through testimony. And so I hope that along the way you will continue to chat with me in the comments, and I will respond back as much as I can. But let's jump into this story. So I started off, like I said, first gen college student. I had a couple of dream schools, and my original plan was to study law in college. And then when you realize how expensive college is, and the schools I wanted to go to were private schools, or they were out of state, it just was not really feasible. And I fortunately played sports all through high school, and so I was offered a basketball scholarship to several different schools, and so I went to go visit them with my mom, and she was a rock star. I remember at one point we went to go visit one school, and we're sitting down with the coach, and they're like, do you have any questions? I never saw this woman pack this. She pulls out a legal pad of questions that she had written down, and I was like, okay girl, because we didn't know what we were doing. We were really just this is a dream, this is a goal I have, and she has always been right there with me. And that was her way of showing up, and she had questions, and my coach answered every single one. And what's interesting is that person became my coach. And I just have such fond memories when I think back to that recruitment visit and the time I spent just getting to know the person that was going to be my coach, and then the campus that I would be on. So if you are in the midst of discerning a decision, and you're this was my plan, but it seems like God's taking me another way, I promise you, I'm living proof and testimony that surrender to God and you will not be disappointed. Okay. So back to college. So I ended up making the decision late. I signed super late in my senior year. I actually remember the day I signed. It was April 11th. You guys, I was graduating a month later. And I just knew I had a piece about it. I'd visited other schools, and I remember being oh, I don't know if these are for me. So I was confident. I signed, and then I spent the summer working out and getting ready to move. So I moved, and I decided to go to a community college for 2 years, and I played basketball, and I thought I was going to study forensic psychology. So I took physics and chemistry. I took all of these classes, and then was really excited. And then freshman year ended. I stayed, several of my teammates and I stayed in that town, and we worked out together every single day. And then the second year starts, our sophomore year starts. Oh, by the way, we were conference champions first year. Hey, yes, okay. Your girl can hoop. So we were really excited because we were the freshmen. So now we're gonna be the sophomores, and so you were pumped because the year before we came, when they recruited me, they had already won a conference championship. So then when I came in and then we won a conference champion, we're yo, we're back-to-back champions. We got to keep this going. So us rising sophomores were so excited. We were we got to go for a three-peat. So sophomore season starts, and one of my teammates literally goes up for like a rebound and breaks her leg. I kid you not. She goes up for a rebound, comes down. I just messed up my hair, and breaks her leg, and she's out. So then around the same time, one of the other girls and I were both having these like pains in our legs that we really couldn't figure out, but we were trying to play through the pain. And we're getting closer and closer to December, and they end up scheduling me a doctor's appointment, and I learned that I have severe stress fractures in my leg. So does my teammate, and my teammate who broke her leg, that was the cause of hers. We had no idea. Something about our summer workout or whatever that looked like, we all got hit with these stress fractures, and unfortunately, again, one person actually did get seriously hurt. So I was out of nowhere, you guys. I come back in January, and I'm not allowed to play. I was crushed like no other because I was not expecting that at all. And I was out. I had played just enough games before the semester break that I was now ineligible to redshirt. So if you don't know what that language is, it was going to be a medical redshirt. So redshirt is where like you get to go to school, but you have to sit out from playing your sport for a year, which then gives you like another year in school to play. So I had missed the cutoff to be a medical redshirt. And at this point, it's like I had no idea when I could come back. So at the same time though, like I'm hanging out, I'm partying with my friends, like on the weekends and all that stuff. And I'm still waking up on Sunday morning to go to church. I kid you not. I found a church in my college town, and I was like, I'm still gonna go. And so I just remember that like I wasn't quite sure what my plan was, because I'm like looking ahead and I'm thinking like, will I ever get to play basketball again? Like I didn't know. And one of the things that someone told me when I first went off to college was read your Bible every day. They're like, just whatever you do, read your Bible every day. And so when I went off to college, I took my Bible with me, and I did read every single day. And I read a psalm because I just really didn't know where to start. And I remember coming across Psalm 91, and it just resonated so deeply with me. Like Psalm 91 just spoke to me in a way that I had never experienced, and it honestly has become like my favorite psalm ever. I did not know when I read it when I was a freshman in college how much I would just rely on the promises of God in that passage for my whole life. So combining my faith in sports and future plans and in uncertainties, I just kept showing up to church, and people would keep encouraging me to be like, you know what, like, you know, we'll pray for God to heal you, but also like if you're still planning to go to school after this, like God's gonna make a way. And I was just like, I don't know how, because I was in college on an academic scholarship and an athletic scholarship. And so without the athletic scholarship, I was just like, what does paying for school look like after this? And I need to also mention that because we had been champions for 2 years in a row, the D1 offer letters were coming in for me, my teammates, everyone. I get hurt, the letters stop. You guys, I was crushed. Like, I'm able to be fine about it now because obviously I absolutely know how the story ends, but at the time, I was just like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, because I went to a junior college that like we transferred to Division I schools, and then some of those people went and played in the NFL or things like that. So this was not something I could easily stomach. So fast forward, I get to come back. I do a lot of physical therapy that semester. We come back. I got to come back, I think, for like the last 4 games of the season, and rusty, out of shape, all the things. But we are headed to the regional tournament. And I just remember, I think we'd already played a game, and this man stops me in the hallway, and what did he say? He said, where are you going to school next? And I was like, sir, I don't know. I said, I've lost all of my offer letters, and I really do not know. Regional tournament, just so you know, is in March. I was going to graduate in May. And he said, he just said, okay, go with me here, okay? It's given like Miracle on 34th Street, like this man is Santa but not Santa type of thing. Like, just says the like most positive, encouraging thing. I'm like, where'd you come from and where did you go when you walked away from me? That's the conversation, because he was like, well, keep your head up, like something will come through. And he was like, don't give up hope yet on, because I think I said, like, I don't even think I'm gonna get to play anymore. Like, I barely made it back to for this season. So we ended up making it further into the tournament, and I played like decently well, like when you have to sit out for 2 or 3 months. And we go back to, because that tournament was also not in the city where I went to college. So we go back to the college, and I had a little part-time job, and I'm at work one day and I get a phone call from this Southern woman. And she tells me that she's the head coach at a school in the South, in Arkansas, and that someone saw me play at the regional tournament and they contacted her and said, you need to have this young lady like come play for you. So she said, I trust that person a lot, and so I wanted to give you a call. So she invites me on a recruitment visit. And if you don't know what that is, that's where you go, and it's not just a campus visit, like you go with the intention of working out and playing with the team, like whatever sport you play. So I went, well, before I get down there, so she invites me there, but it's 10 hours away from where I lived in community college. And my car had also broken down. I know, listen, you know, when it rains, it pours. So I'm like, I have no idea how I'm even gonna get there. And I tell my coaches at the time, I'm like, hey, I got a phone call from this lady. And so then they talk to her and they coordinate it. My assistant coach, they decided to do like meet at a meeting point. So my assistant coach drove me halfway. The prospective coach drove me, or I'm gonna get this together. My assistant coach drove me halfway, and then the other coach came to pick me up, and then she took me back the rest of the way to the school. And when we got there, like it was great. I met the girls on the team, and you spend the night, you get a tour of the campus. So you do like campus visit stuff, but it's all within your team, like or potential team. So you meet the girls, we do a scrimmage next day. I did well, and the coach offers me a letter, like offers me to come to their school. And I can't remember the full details, but eventually I like call my mom and I'm like, hey, I just got an offer to go play in Arkansas. Mind you, my only offer, because if I had not said yes to him, I really don't even know what my other choice would have been. And I had been praying, and my church had been praying with me, and my legs were healing. So you know, like things were kind of restoring. And so it definitely felt like, well, if I want to keep playing basketball and I want to stay in college, then this is probably the best option for me. And so after my visit, the coach drives me back to Half Point. My assistant coach picks me up, and then we go back to my junior college. And then I think maybe like a week or so later, I prayed about it and I made the decision that that's where I was going to go. But here's the kicker. Car still broke down. I look up that school. It's a private Christian school, 10 hours away. How am I going to get there? How am I going to pay for it? Because scholarships work a little differently. And I just was like, we've made the decision, so we're just going to have to rock with it. So I go home for the summer, and then my mom, I feel like, and my aunt drive me. We drive 10 hours just to drop me off, and then they had to drive the whole 10 hours back. My family loves me. So I move in down there, and I'm with the team. I'm still reading scripture, but I have no car. And everyone I had met so far, like no one was really going to church like that. So I wasn't going to church on Sunday for a little bit. And then I met one of my best friends in life who, like, we're still friends till this day. We decided to, we made it our mission to find a church. And so every Sunday we would go visit a different church. And the reason we could visit a different church is because if we went and we were just like, this might not be it, we just didn't go back. So then that would make us go to another church. And there'd be some places we'd visit that maybe we went 2 or 3 weeks in a row because one of us liked it, but the other one didn't like it. And then we finally found what I call my little gym on a hill. And the Lord led us to this beautiful Baptist church at the top of a mountain in Arkansas. And that whole church became my family. Like, they welcomed us in, they would cook for us. They started coming to my basketball games and supporting me. I joined the choir, and I grew up in a church that there was a lot of teaching and a lot of standards for Jesus, but I had never just been offered the opportunity to be baptized. And so when I was away at college, I had been given that opportunity at this church. And so I got baptized in college, and it was such a beautiful time for me because I was still going out with my friends. Like, I was hanging out with my teammates, or I was hanging out because I joined a sorority. And so I was partying in college, but then I would wake up on Sunday morning and have so much conviction. And it's not like I wasn't like crazy out here. Like, let's reel the thoughts back in. But it was just like, there was just a conviction of like, the Lord didn't really approve. And so I'd be at church on Sunday, and I would just be like, I don't even know what to do, because that's kind of what the expectation for college was, is that like, it's a Friday night, like, you're gonna go dancing, or it's Saturday night, like, we're all gonna hang out on what we called it, the quad. Like, everybody's gonna hang out on the quad. And so I just remember being like, I don't even know what another option is. Like, if I'm not doing that, where else would I be? Because all of my friends are there. And then because I had joined the choir sometimes would travel, or they would have like a revival or something on a Saturday night. So then that at least gave me an alternative. And then getting baptized, like, one thing led to another. After I finished my first year, I came back home for the summer, and my church was starting a young adult ministry. The timing could not have been more perfect, because I met two people who have completely influenced my life in such a beautiful way. And they were just there when I really had a lot of questions and I was wondering, and God was just calling me closer and deeper in relationship. And I just needed the encouragement to be like, I'm not crazy, right? Like, I'm this desire, or these, what's the word? This sensing that I need to be more in my Bible, this sensing to prioritize faith, the sensing to prioritize prayer was real, because it was just getting stronger and deeper as I had like navigated through college. So then what the other kicker is, being a first generation college student, like, no one told me to get an internship, because at this point I've done 2 years at the community college. I did graduate, so I had a degree. I've now transferred to a 4-year school, and I was only supposed to have 2 more years of college. So I've already completed 1. I should have had an internship based on my major, so that by the time I graduate at the end of the next year, there's like an airplane passing or something. Okay. That by the time I graduated, I'd have a job, but no one was there to mentor me or tell me that. I didn't know I was supposed to be doing that. So you know what I did? I worked at Sonic. I went home for the summer and I worked at Sonic. You guys, I was getting a bachelor's of administration. If you are a first-gen college student, I am rooting for you so hard right now. I know that you don't always know what you're supposed to be doing. And I pray that this video encourages you and lets you know that even if you make a false step, or you don't make a step at all because you don't know you're supposed to do it, that it's okay, because God will redeem the time. Okay, remember? First gen to an author, this one. So anyways, I go home for the summer. I'm in my young adult ministry. I come back for what's supposed to be my last year of college, play again, and really just involved in the church. At this point, like, my best friend and I, we are so committed to the church. We're inviting everyone with us to go to church. And then I got a car over the summer, so I drove myself all the way back to school. And so then she would put people in her car, I would put people in my car, we would drive to church and drive all the way up this mountain. And then that grew. And so there would be times where we would be 5 or 6 cars deep, leaving campus to go to church. It was beautiful. And I see it now, but at the time I had no idea. Like, the gift of me just being able to galvanize and encourage people to also go deeper in their faith. And so we'd have like athletes and biology majors and girls who were in our dorm, or some of the like men's basketball team. Like we recruited people to come with us to church, and a lot of people were really blessed by the experience. So it's now my senior year, you guys. They tell me then that when I graduated with my associates, that several of my credits were not going to transfer, and that I was going to have to come back for an extra semester. And I was like, you're joking. Because you know what? I had no more eligibility for basketball after 4 years, because I played all 4 years. And I'm like, who's going to pay for this? How am I going to pay for this? Where am I going to live? And fortunately, they were able to give me back my basketball scholarship again, but they made me an assistant coach. In that transition, you guys, I was so just excited. Because specifically, we went to this tournament in Oakland, California. I had never been to California, and I was now the assistant coach of the girls I had just played with. And they had me drive the 11-passenger van. I think I was like 21 years old maybe. And I was driving my former teammates on the van, but as their coach, in Oakland, California traffic. And I'm just like, okay, I got to get the girls safely to the gym. And, you know, there were other things, like I was in charge of like uniforms or coordinating things and communicating with them. And then, which was my least favorite part, because I didn't like when it was done to me, when you have to do like room checks and phone checks. And I was now that person being like, put your phones in the basket, or like lights out of 10. I was now that person. It's crazy. And so I literally only did it for a semester, because I had to finish my degree. Well, simultaneously. So I'm going to church. I'm now an assistant coach because I've finished all 4 years of college. I'm in an extra semester. And I'm still at the church, still very involved. They're coming to support all of my basketball games, which was really, really sweet, because the church was there on senior night when my family was, 11 hours away. So I definitely had like community and support, and I really loved it. But you know what your girl didn't have? A job lined up, because I still didn't know what I was doing. So I go to the Career Center, because I think they did like some sort of presentation. They're like, if you're a senior, you need to, like, I think it was a requirement, like you had to go to the Career Center. So I go in there, and she's like, okay, tell me, what internships have you had? Tell me. And then it's kind of like, because I went to one of these types of schools, like, oh, or does your family like own a business? Are you planning to get your business degree and go work for your family's company? What? No. Like, no. Ma'am, I was working at Sonic, okay? I don't know what to tell you. So she's like, well, what campus jobs have you had? Now we're working with something. So work study, because yes, I was in a sorority. I played basketball. I had a work study job, and I was a full-time college student. I had tutored all the way through college. Never the plan. That's just the work study job they gave me, and I was good at it and I liked it. So I had done it at my undergrad, and then I'd done it at my community college. And when I got to my undergrad, I kind of looked for tutoring jobs, because at least I knew how to do that. So she goes, okay, come back next week or in a couple days or something. And she goes, we need to create you a resume. What? What? She's like, it's okay if you don't have one, or if you've never done one. She goes, just write down every job you've ever had and the dates that you worked there. She goes, just put the month and the year. And she said, just bring that on a blank piece of paper, and then we'll build your resume together. Shout out to the Career Center at Lyon College, because you changed my life. So I do that. It's not a very long list. And I come back and I meet with her, and that's when she realizes that I had tutored the whole time. So she tells me about Teach for America. And I'm like, she's like, have you heard of it? No, I have not. and she sends me to go watch a video about Teach for America. She's like, "Okay, come back, let me know if you're interested." Because we also did some like career placement, like what do you want to do? Where do you see yourself? And I didn't know, I kind of had an idea, like having been an athlete, Nike, like working for Nike was like the dream. And they used to have like a new graduates program. So I was like, maybe that, like I really didn't know. Because I should also say this, I originally went to school for forensic psychology. So I took classes like chemistry, physics, and I studied like ballistics, and I took forensic psychology classes in high school and in college. But then when I transferred to my 4-year school, because it was a tiny school, like you guys, I think there were 300 of us. I kid you not. Like I think a 4-year school, there were 300 people total. There weren't like 5 or 6 different class offerings like there'd be at a big state school. And as an athlete, specifically basketball, because our season is so long, we would have missed class. I would have missed lab, and there would only be one offering of lab. Like I couldn't just like take another class option. So a lot of the basketball players, we were kind of just like pushed into the business program because it had the most flexible class offerings. So basketball and baseball, a lot of us were all business majors. And then if you like played soccer, a lot more of them were science majors, just because of that's kind of how that all worked out, which is more common than you think. Like other schools, they might not force specific athletes into business. It could be communications. This is very common just because of workload. Like it's very hard to keep up in a class when you're gone 3 or 4 days out of the week because you're traveling with your sports team. So keep that in mind, but whatever. But if you can relate, put it in the comments below, like, oh yeah, like did you have a degree you were going to do, and then did sports or did life cause you to change your major? Which is very different than like, oh, I changed my major 15 times because I didn't know what I wanted to do. Like this is different. Okay, so where are we at? So all of that's happening. She sends me to go watch the video. I go watch the video. I come back and I cried because I did not know that getting a good education for some students is based on a lottery. Like literally, they would draw kids' names out of a hat, and that's the school that they would go to, and that school could have resources or that school could not have resources. I did not grow up like that in the way that I was placed at a bad school. Like I grew up, my elementary school was incredible, and it just really set me up for success. Like my elementary school, we focused a lot on technology, and my middle school, I was able to learn 3 foreign languages. And then in high school, I went to a college prep school. So that just shocked me that there are kids living in America where just based on their name, placement in a bowl depicted if they would be able to read and write well. So that pulled on my heartstrings, and I wanted to help. So we built my resume to fit the Teach for America resume guideline. And she's like, okay, well, like, I think I had to do that, and I had to maybe do one more thing. And so she told me to submit it. Now, this is where she went wrong. She should have had me submit it right there with her, because you know what happened when I walked away? I got to my room and I freaked myself out, and I was like, they're never gonna pick me. So I did not submit my resume. I didn't. They had like 4 different deadlines in the fall. I missed the first one because we had just gotten together. So then there were 3 more. Well, I missed the second one. And then she reaches out. She's like, have you heard back? Like, and I was like, I didn't apply. She's like, why didn't you apply? And I said, I don't know, I just got really nervous, and I don't think they're gonna accept me. And so I just didn't even like put my hat in the ring. And she's like, Syeeda, submit your resume. Like, we just worked on it. And then she was like, okay, well, is there another job you want to think through? So she like sends me home with some book for like business majors for me to look through, blah, blah. The 3rd deadline is approaching, and she's encouraging me, like, you should submit your stuff. You guys, I still didn't submit it. Okay. But I was a scared 21-year-old, and it was to be a teacher. And I'm like, I was trying to do forensic psychology. And then I got pushed into a business degree, which I was able to like work with because I got to study international business, which was really cool. And I think I got to study abroad. Yeah, by this point I had gotten to study abroad in college too, which was such a cool experience. I got to go to Europe. And so I was like, okay, I don't mind doing international business because we were learning about different companies and processes and all these things all around the world and what they can look like. So the Teach for America was like, yes, my heartstrings, and yes, I care about these kids, but I was like, I don't know if I should be the one. Like, I was like, I never wanted to teach. And so I think like me being like, well, I didn't see myself doing this. And then the forensic psychology was something that I had balanced with being a lawyer. And so I just kind of was like, I don't know if this is the right thing for me to apply to. Now, I don't know why I thought if I applied, I was stuck with the job or that they would even offer it to me. So you guys, whatever it was, I think I had like some church, what do we have? Like a revival. They said something at the revival. And so when I got home, it encouraged me. What they said encouraged me. So I went to go submit my resume and everything online at 11:57 p.m. The deadline was definitely 11:59. And this was the last deadline. So anybody else live on the edge? Because, yeah, I tend to do that sometimes. So I did that. And then I was like, load faster, please. And it uploaded. And I was like, okay, cool. So that was November. I can't remember the exact date, but it was later in November. And I had just 1 month left of school before I was going to graduate and be finished. And that was also like such a pivotal time because this was when I went home at Christmas. Every other year before that, when I went home for Christmas as a basketball player, you're only allowed to go home for like 2 or 3 days because you have to play and you have to practice. This was going to be the first time in college that I was going to go home for Christmas break and get the full month off because I wasn't coming back. Like, I was done. And it was the scariest time in my, like, I was terrified and I was really sad. Like, I had played basketball my entire life. I started playing when I was 7. And then I got to go play in college, which was a dream. And then that ended in our last game of my senior year. And then I came back and I got to still hang on to it because of coaching. But when I left at Christmas break, like, I had nothing lined up. I had no job. I didn't have a grad assistant position. Like, I didn't even know if I wanted to go back to school. Like, I wasn't quite sure if I wanted a master's. And so I just kept saying, I need a semester off. Like, if I do go get a master's degree, I was like, I just need a semester off because it was a lot to take in. And I just remember the first day in January back when all my friends, like, it was the first day of school. And I was just like at home on my mom's couch. And I just cried all day because I just didn't know what to do with myself and what had become of my life, or in what would become of my life, because I just was like, I don't have a job, but I have a degree and I'm living back at home. And I was like, how did we get here? So that is the first part of the story and the journey to set an example. I hope that you come back and continue to learn more about faith and how set an example came to be. In the next video, I'm going to talk about the Teach for America journey and what that looked like and how the Lord moved me to New York unexpectedly. So if this video has blessed you, please like and comment below. If you feel so led, please subscribe. And most importantly, if you would like to follow along with this journey, grab your copy of Set an Example. The link will be in the bio. And I will see you next time. God bless you.